Elisa and I am the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I'm going to make a custom traveler's notebook using my Cricut. So I am in Cricut Design Space and I have inserted a square image. Then I click the unlock button so I can adjust the sizes, and I am formatting it to the size I want my cover, which happens to be 8¼ inches tall by 8½ inches wide, and that will be the size of my cover for my TN. That's kind of the size of a standard TN, so I knew that's what I was looking for. The next thing I'm going to do for my cover is I inserted another square. You see it right there. I'm going to change the fill color so that it's a little bit easier to see. And once again, I'm going to click the unlock button over there at the left so that I can resize my square into a rectangle that will fit just on the front cover. So you can see me kind of dragging it there, and then I'll adjust it to make sure it's going to be in the middle of my cover, and I'm formatting the size to be the size that I want, which will be 3.75 inches wide and 8 inches tall, which should fit nicely onto the front cover of my traveler's notebook. And that will be actually a piece that I will cut out of vinyl to fit over the top of some gorgeous scrapbook paper that I'm planning on using. Now that I have those two main pieces to my custom traveler's notebook fixed and ready to go, then I will start to pull in some images. The cool thing is that you can make a traveler's notebook any size you want. Maybe you want a mini one, maybe you want an extra large journal cover. Whatever works for you, you can customize it, and that's what I am loving about using my Cricut, is that I can make these pieces that work for how I want to craft. I love this image that says Summer Love, and I'm going to cut it out of the vinyl that's going to be on the front. So what I'm actually going to do here is take the image, move it over, and ungroup it, because right now it's 3 different layers. I want to ungroup it because I only want the cut layers. So I'm moving that over, and I'll actually end up deleting those other 2 layers. I have it kind of in the middle, but what I'm going to do is select the white box and the Summer Love, and then center them vertically to make sure it's perfectly centered on the white piece. And now that they're both selected, I will go down to press slice, and that will make it so that I can slice that image out of the white box. So you can use the slice tool when you have only 2 images together, both of them selected. So I end up with this sliced piece that I don't need anymore. I'm deleting the other pieces that I don't need, the 2 background pieces, and I'm left with my main traveler's notebook, and then the beginning of my cover, which now you can see will show what is underneath. So it's being cut out of the vinyl. It'll show whatever pattern is underneath. I want to add the year of 2020, and I'm actually just going to stick with this font right here. It's a little large, so I'm going to scale it down just a bit and move it over, and I will do the same technique. So selecting the 2020 and the white front cover, I align them horizontally to make sure it's perfectly centered, and then since they're both selected, I will press slice. You'll see that I can move the white image, and now it has the 2020 cut out of it. I'm deleting the extra images that I don't need, the extra slices, and then putting that back. So it's super easy to customize. It's going to be really fun to layer, and I actually decide that I'm going to add one more cutout, and that will be another rectangle. I think that at this point I'm thinking I want to put a 3x4 card there. I end up changing my mind later on, but I'm inserting a square with the image tool, and I'll put that right over here. I will click unlock so that I can reformat the size of that square, and then it'll be like a picture frame image in my traveler's notebook. So I hit unlock, I'm reformatting that size. I end up scaling it down from a 3x4 so that it will be able to hold a 3x4 card. But like I said, I end up changing my mind and wanting to go with something different. I will click that, then click the white piece that it is on so that both are selected together. I am aligning them horizontally, and then I will once again select both pieces and click slice, and that slices that rectangle out of the white piece delete both of the extra images. Now I have all of my pieces ready to go, ready to click make it, and it will be all set to go. Cricut Access automatically sorts it into multiple different mats for me. You just have to select the correct material, which for me on the first cut will be premium vinyl. Okay, I am all ready to cut now that my design is done. So I have a standard grip mat right here. I'm going to use this yellow, and I'm actually going to use vinyl for the front of my traveler's notebook because I think it will be very easy to transfer over and will give me a nice crisp image. So I'm going to just trim out my vinyl. Some people measure really carefully in advance. I tend to just put it on and cut and just trust that it's all going to work out. So just different styles for sure. So that is all set. I will use vinyl for the front of mine, and then for the back behind the vinyl I'll be using this, which has such a gorgeous inside cover, so that should make an absolutely beautiful traveler's notebook. Let's give it a try. Vinyl is something that is new for me. I haven't worked with it a whole lot, but I am loving it with this Cricut. You just want to make sure the settings are correct. So when you have a Cricut Explore Air 2, you see a dial to the right. You can either set the dial to your material, so there's lots of different choices including vinyl, or I like to keep my dial set on custom, because then that gives me even more choices over in Cricut Access in the design space. So I keep it set on custom and make sure to set the material as a choice when I am in design space. For instance, I changed materials mid-project. Half of it was cut on vinyl, half of it was cut on paper, so I had to make sure that I had selected the different material when I was cutting out the two different pieces. For me, keeping it on custom just makes it a little bit easier to use. Okay, now that my pieces are all cut, I'm going to score my cover. So it is 8.5, which means I want to score right in the middle, which is 4 1/4, and I'm using my scoring board, just lightly pressing. I'm going to flip it over and score on both sides. Get all that lined up. Score, and then that just makes it have a nice clean fold, and then I can use my same bone folder right here. Just really press down and make sure that that is nice and crisp. So that is all ready to go. Now I have my Cricut piece right here that I will weed out with vinyl. I just need to cut off some of the extra so that I can use it for a different project. I always like to save my scraps of vinyl so that I can use them in different ways. And then I'll use my weeding tool here. And I'm going to start, actually right here at the edge is where I'm going to start and kind of cut off this outline. One tip is that as I'm weeding, I like to keep a little mini trash can right there. I usually stack the tiny pieces up on top of each other and stick them on my finger and just start peeling off. But I like having the trash can right there, or else all of these tiny pieces will really start getting all over your workspace. You'll see actually later in the video, I have one stuck to my nail for quite a bit. Transferring is actually super easy. So you take transfer tape, and this was new to me. This was like not around, or I never knew about it when I had a Cricut back in the day, back in my old scrapbooking days. But this is absolutely fantastic for transferring your vinyl images. So you cut it down to close to the size, then you take off the backing of your transfer sheet. Big clear sticker. Then you're going to place it over the top like so. A little bit wrinkly here, so let me fix that. I'm going to take my Cricut scraper and just scrape down, making sure it has a nice strong adhesion, especially on these little parts like that. Flip it over. I'll pull the white paper off now slowly to make sure everything stays where it's meant to stay, which is just fabulous. And then I can place it very carefully on my front cover. Once it's there, again, I'll use my scraper to make sure that everything is adhered down, and then pull back the transfer tape. And there you go. That is the front of my new traveler's notebook. So cute. Let me show you how I'm going to finish it off. Okay, for me, there's nothing that describes the summer love of 2020 more than my home, because that, my friends, is where we are spending all of our time. So this is a journaling card from Felicity Jane, and I am just going to simply cut out the house because it's adorable. Cut that out and then use that as an ephemera piece for the front of my journal. And there we go. Now it's time to make the inner pages. You certainly could cut out your individual traveler's notebook pages with any of the main cutting tools. I just liked that I could be sure that they were definitely going to fit together. They were the exact size that I wanted, and I had my Cricut out ready to go anyway, so it wasn't that hard to just sort through these colors, feed them through the machine, watch a little YouTube while it was all getting cut. Okay, now that I have all my pieces cut out, now I'll come over to my scoring board, and again, score right in the middle. In this case, it is at 4. I cut a little bit off that time. There we go. And I just want to score all my pieces so that they will line up nicely together. Okay, now I have all of the inner pages for my notebook. You could go back and trim off this overhang part because I wanted to go with the rainbow colors. I happen to think the overhang is absolutely beautiful, so I'm going to keep it as is. And I have my outer cover ready to go. So I'm going to use this tool from We Are Memory Keepers. It's their bookbinding tool, and it works fabulously. I will start out, it does about 3 pages at a time, so I'll take my inner 3 pages here. You simply unscrew right here, and I'm going to place this in. And for me, I usually end up lining it up, making sure I can get 2 holes there on the end, just based on the size of where mine falls. You screw these down, and there are holes. You use the awl right here, and I'm going to poke through the ones that are marked with the black rings, and that turns out to be every other hole. And then those sheets are done, just like that. And then you repeat the process for the rest of the sheets. add those right there. And now I just need to punch my cover. Now it is ready to sew together. So the We Are Memory Keepers kit comes with examples of the different types of stitches, and I'm going to just do a simple saddle stitch. It also comes with the wax thread. You want to make sure to pull off enough. That's about twice the length of your book. Cut that off, and I will begin threading. I like to start in the middle actually. So I will line up all my pages and put it straight through with the holes already punched. It's pretty easy. And then I'll go down and come right back in and out. This is just a simple standard stitch. I like sewing my notebooks together because I feel like it's a little bit stronger than when I've done the staple in the past. Now that I'm at the bottom, I will come back through one that I've already done, pulling that back through, and then kind of retrace my steps to the holes that I've already sewn through. Now, as I go through this, I want to be careful that it stays in place. And then I'll continue going up to the top. Same thing as before. Once you get to the top, you're going to double back over the ones you've already gone through and kind of fill in those stitches so it looks like a straight line in the end. All right, and once you meet back at the middle, you can simply tie it off and it is stitched together. I like to use my bone folder at the end just to make sure everything is pressed really tightly. And you can flex it through, open up on the different pages. But you're left with this beautiful summer notebook full of all of its rainbow goodness. Super easy to do, super customizable, and a lot of fun to work on in your craft room with your Cricut. Thanks for watching this video and joining me today to see what I made with my Cricut this week. It definitely makes it so easy to craft. I am loving experimenting with it and making all kinds of things. I have all of the tools I use linked down below if you're interested in checking those out. I also have a link to join my bi-weekly newsletter that talks about crafty tips and organization hacks. I hope you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.